Have you ever wondered what you are supposed to do when you don't really know if you want to be in a relationship anymore, but also you don't know if you want to leave? Giving you a little bit of a context of my own, I'm turning 26 this year. I've been in a few relationships myself, and if there is one thing I definitely know is that if you've been in any relationship for that matter, you've always come to face this question at some point of your relationship for sure, although the timeline may vary person to person. So, this thought is something that I have been sitting with for the past few weeks, where I really wanted to dwell deep into what are the factors that really brings us into this position. Like, why does at any given point it becomes so hard for us to be pushed to take a call like that? And I'm not talking about relationships that have been toxic, abusive, manipulative. I am leaving all of that aside. I'm just speaking about, the ones where it's there's nothing bad or terrible to point out. Like, they're not really a bad person per se, and it's not that they don't love you either. Of course, they love you with all their heart, and of course, you also care about them. But sometimes at some point, you just don't feel the same anymore. Can you leave someone who hasn't done anything wrong, right? This is where I was exploring a little bit about showing love versus being in love with someone. And showing love is very different. It can be very common to all people, and not just in a relationship aspect. You can show love to your parents, you can show love to your siblings, you can show love to your friends, pets. All of that is showing love. But showing love to a relationship that's not focused on a particular person is kind of trying to build a type of a synergy with a lot of effort. And at this point, you can love someone deeply and still feel like you do not have the dynamic enough to have a relationship with them. But at the same time, the other side of your mind is more like, if I do leave this person, there is going to be that guilt because they genuinely did not do anything wrong. Think about it. Anytime we want to leave a job or take any hard decision, we usually look for reasons convincing as to why we should do it. And of course, we make up a lot of reasons. But when it comes to situations like this, when someone has been nothing but completely perfect, or rather, I wouldn't say perfect, but someone who has not done anything to flag, so in that case, it becomes the guilt kind of becomes higher, and then at that point, you feel whether I really want to leave the person because I they haven't done anything wrong. There is nothing that I can flag about, and hence the guilt weighs a lot. The guilt may be because they love me a lot, and how can I hurt someone who's been so good to me is also another thought that we can have, because again, you can love the person, but you may not really love the relationship enough, right? And are you staying because you choose them, or because you can't bear being responsible for their pain, right? This is where it gets a little funny. Like, um, we are also social beings, and at some point or the other, we will feel like we have kind of responsible for the feelings of the person we are with, right? And we will overburden ourselves and overbear ourselves with all the all the painful feelings so that the other person doesn't have to go through it, because we have also labeled it as a relationship, and that brings on the responsibilities and duties that follow with it. For example, just to give you a fictional example, if you've noticed Jim and Karen at the office, they're both good people, but for some reasons their feelings don't really match. And given all of this guilt aside, I also feel that I'm not saying follow your heart, and if you feel like it's not working out, you should give up. There are definitely a concept of hope, which is really beautiful. Hope is something uh, that really really does carry us all in some way or the other in our life. And in this aspect, hope is that maybe it will come back, or the way it was, like it was in the starting, as to why you took the initial decision and chose to be with this person. And maybe relationships naturally change, and how you adapt, how you learn to adapt with it. And this is a very tricky line, but maybe I haven't tried enough. But again, that doesn't mean to a point where you're overbearing yourself and you keep on trying and you still feel like it's not working out. And you also have to understand, when is hope actually hope and when is it postponing a decision. But what if I actually want to make it work? Don't automatically say I want to leave, right? Ask what exactly is missing. There can be parts of a person that you may love and parts you may not love. Is it the attraction, the excitement, the intimacy, the friendship, feeling understood? It could be a lot of things. And I think sometimes, more than wondering about, oh, how it's gonna be so miserable if I leave this person, you can think about, what are the parts in me that make me not feel like myself, or bring me this kind of a thought in the first place. And despite all of it, if you still feel it's not going to work out, then you come to your initial thoughts. This is your fallback, where you feel like, why did I ever choose this person? Or what did I see in them? And what did I think happiness would look like when I was with them? Of course, we're all very hopeful. We all have that foresight into future. I don't think there are a lot of people who go into relationships, like proper relationships, and feel like, I don't think this is for the future. This is just for the time being, right? So, what did you imagine your future would look like? And bring those thoughts back. Sometimes in our fast paced world, it's very, very easy to lose sight of what we actually had as our initial thoughts. So it's always good to reflect back on what made us choose this person. And am I still chasing and choosing the same version of happiness? And if that is not the case, if you're not doing that, then in that point, I think your answer becomes very clear, because of course humans also change, and there is a high likely chance that you yourself have evolved, and maybe your needs might have changed also. That's where I come to this part where I feel like, maybe I've changed, maybe the relationship didn't fail, maybe I became a different person. What I needed at 24 or 23 is not something that I want when I am 25 or 26 now. So, one great way to think about it is, can the relationship grow with who I've become? And this is very crucial, because we're talking about a very short span here, 20 to 25 ish, or it could be anyone. But when we look at the future, do we really, really see ourselves decades and decades go on, and the relationship to grow and mold along the way? And if I really, really want to make it work, I it could be different ways, right? I am not here to give a solution, but if you want to really make it work, some of the ideas that I have are: have the uncomfortable conversation, change your routine, try to go on dates, reconnect again, and make it feel like it's a new experience altogether. And because we get so comfortable, we tend to neglect each other's needs and experiences and requirements and thoughts, and we neglect them as a whole. I think it's time to take a step back and probably give them a proper healthy time, and to just be there for them and to listen to the other person. But again, don't force yourself to feel love, because that is something unfortunately none of us can do. Otherwise, by now we would have some amazing long lasting relationships. So, see whether after all of this you start moving towards them again naturally. And some more things to test is, think about these questions, right? Am I curious about them again? Do I feel excited to tell them things that are happening in my life? Do I want to spend time with them? Do I admire them? Or do I want the physical closeness with them? Do I feel like myself around them? And I feel this is personally very important. Or am I just trying because I don't want to hurt them? Here's the big nasty question. If I met this person today, exactly as I am today, without the history, the guilt, fear, or expectations, would I choose them again? And this is a thought I want to leave you all with.